Elite Dangerous Odyssey expansion has come out with rather interesting new planets with new things to find on them. However, a lot of people have been rather disappointed about the way they look now compared to the old version from Horizons. Especially now that we can completely compare the planets right beside each other with the same settings and all. Now, I did talk about planets in general, however I didn't quite deep dive into the whole topic. However, after watching a video by the Black Maze, he goes deeper into how planets are basically more bland now than ever, and in fact they try to mask how bland they are on the planet's surface through just simply fading effects as well. So I do recommend going and checking his video out, I'll link it down below. However, what really sparked this particular video, or rather examination, was this post on Reddit showing the grand scale of a planet basically being made up of just pre-baked tiles and repeating patterns. Frankly speaking, after Black Maze's video as well as this particular report and a few other ones as well, planets now start to feel like very generic examples. And by itself, it really is a downgrade. Now, there's another interesting thing that I've been constantly poked about from a few sources, and that is the coloring of the sky not matching, and even the planet's surface not really matching what the trailers have been showing often. And by all means, obviously, for a trailer you're gonna try and find the best looking planets and best looking scenery. That's what you always do, clearly. But when really we can't find the similarities in game, it really starts to feel like, well, somebody has been pulling our leg at the best. And sure, developers may say, but this is gonna be put in later. But I'm sorry, honey. This is an expansion. This is supposed to be presenting all the features that you just presented to us fully at the launch, not sometime later. You're not developing another season pass. However, if you are, then you're basically lying to us. And frankly speaking, this launch alone tells us that yes, Frontier Developments is basically not willing to tell us what actually is going on. And while yes, you can say that TheYamiks is one of those over-skeptical people and whatnot else, but now even your average Joe will basically take whatever Frontier says with a massive grain of salt, and that's how you should do it. But you know, this was just the tip of the iceberg where I started my investigation as to what actually is downgraded in Odyssey. And obviously my forte being an FPS player was the weapons and the stats and the things. And well, on the launch there were no stats at all for the weapons, which in of itself was already a downgrade from their own alpha, where they had at least the bare minimum DPS statistic. Frankly speaking, that was incredibly incompetent. It goes far beyond being disappointed or angry. However, now, literally 1 week later, they finally, just today, released the patch adding those things in. So now, at least you can see the weapon stats. Very minimal amount of them, which is still unacceptable. However, it's definitely better than it was. And this leads us into engineering, which is the upgrading system for the legs as well as for the ships. Now remember, back in the day with Horizons, when engineering was first introduced, it was really bad, it was very grindy, and no one liked it for a multitude of reasons. However, later developers decided, yeah, we're gonna improve it at least a little bit, and well, one particular change that was made was allowing you to carry 100 upwards to 300 units per material type. Not together one big block of 500 to 1000, depending on the category, for all the materials within the category, but for each 100 to 300. Now what Frontier is doing literally with the engineering 3.0, or the legs engineering related stuff, is going backwards, back to that original design, not learning from their own mistakes or changes for the better that community appreciated more. This is literally taking effort to devolve, and that's a sentence I frankly didn't think I would need to use. And they take an extra step twice Once, for actually needing you to go back to a ship or SRV to deposit whatever materials you picked up on your feet, which also is a big issue. And another one is that you can't remove any parts from your weapons, unlike from the ship engineered items. I frankly am gobsmacked how much more they are trying to go backwards with engineering. And that's not learning from someone else's mistakes. It's literally not learning from your own. It's incredible, frankly speaking. Highly disappointing, in fact. Engineering in particular has been a big bugbear of mine, considering the grind and rather malicious abuse of the player's time. But this is just worse. It's forcing even more of it onto the players, especially considering that the results aren't even that worth it. And the saddest thing is, this did not end here. There are few more things that they did downgrade. Following up right with the new UI and the galaxy map in particular. Sometimes just the simplest things can improve your life so much, and that's what basically happened back in the day with the bookmarks, when I in one of my videos suggested that where you had the plus button to add a bookmark to your list also should have, once added, a minus button replace it, so that you can quickly also remove it rather than needing to go to a list and then delete it manually through there. Now that, by the way, has been removed. This simple little thing just is gone now. Maybe it was a bug, but the fact of the matter is that useful thing has now been reverted. Now, of course, in Horizons, it's still there, and that's why I am able to show you this footage. However, the bigger issue with the galaxy map and the general UI now is that they shifted from a text-based UI design to icon-based UI. And while that may look cleaner in some ways, problem is that unless the icons are well known throughout every culture, throughout everyone's age, they will be cumbersome and hard to use for everyone, even experienced people. Frankly speaking, it boggles my mind as to why they chose to go for this type of a menu design, because frankly speaking, what was wrong with the past one, honestly? In a way, I get it that you need to or want to specifically separate Odyssey from the old game as this new era thing. I mean, seriously, did no one raise an issue with the fact that no one can understand what the icons are? Did you not test this with any kind of a test audience to see what they think of the UI changes? Because I bet anyone who's new to Elite Dangerous, especially the people that you're trying to bring in with this FPS update, they won't understand anything. Not that Elite was particularly understood in the start, but at least everything had a name to it. Now there's not even that. Let me paint you a scenario. A new player is invited by his friend to play Elite Dangerous. He says, okay, so sort the map by the services available to find the tech broker that you need. And the new player says, which button is that? Is that the squiggly line number 1? Or is that squiggly line number 3? Okay, let's just go one by one and waste time. See, icon-based UI has to be extremely obvious, otherwise it just simply falls flat on its face. And unfortunately, here we are. And going even further, this is not the last thing either in my list. The next thing is the outfitting for ships in general. For the sake of not wasting your time, I'll simply say that basically the new UI is worse. And that also extends to outfitting indeed. And sure, there is the muscle memory that we have, and the fact that we've learned the UI because, well, it has been the same for the last 4 years at least. But there are some really weird choices being made to basically display the same information in a relatively same way, rather than switching again to icon-based menus. There is a little bit of that, and again, just the same as I said about Galaxy Map, here applies as well. However, let's say you want to equip, let's say a shield booster. Here, let me play the clip.
Oh, okay, one. Now. Interesting. Okay, that's one.
I don't care.
Okay, go to storage. Yeah.
Right. What is this fucking shit?
2. Nope. Remember, you have to go back. You gotta back out. Go to module storage.
I'm gonna cock slap the shit out of Braven. Like seriously, I will. What the hell?
What?
Why can't they
No,
why
no,
does
no,
this
you can't
need
click
to...
there. No, you have to go back to the fucking storage menu. That's so stupid. What?
So basically put, there are some really weird choices being made for the UI design, and frankly, they are not good in general. So the real question is, what was the point? Was this simply made by someone who maybe knew UI design, but surely did not know what Elite was? Because that is my prevailing theory. Still, additional little changes that we've noticed in the creator community is basically that the new camera is rather happy with the black screens, if you will, and those need to change immediately, because they are incredibly annoying to deal with. And of course, I myself have noticed that there is no obstructed or, well, dark helmet for your character. It always has to have a face, which, again, for someone who, well, doesn't particularly show the face a lot, yeah, doesn't need that face constantly being plastered. Still, the question is, why should we be concerned about especially those simple little things? Well, knowing Frontier Development's MO, if people don't raise a stink about it, unfortunately, it will be abandoned harder than Mokuba in Yu-Gi-Oh! Animated series. I'm concerned that some of these downgrades are already here to stay, which truly worries me about the longevity as well as playability of this game once Horizons players get the new look and the so-called upgrades. I'm truly worried, so to raise awareness, not only spread the word, but also share additional downgraded features if you have any down below. I really do hope nothing overly major has been downgraded harder than the Frontier stock after Odyssey's release. In any case, in the end, if you want to upgrade something, well, I can offer my Patreon. It's a great way to support the content just like this one and many more, so I'll link it all down below. Oh, and actually, I just recently released a 100,000 subscribers celebratory shirt, which you can see here, so if you want to pick it up, well, there's a link down below as well to support the little Latvian channel right here. But for now, that's about it.